Ghoulies, they'll eat your ass. That was originally going to be the tagline before they changed it to Ghoulies. They'll get you in the end. So we're talking about Charlie Band's produced movie Ghoulies, part of Empire Pictures. I lump in the Empire Pictures movies with Full Moon because Charlie Band produced all those. So to me, they're all in the same pile, so to speak. So it's a Full Moon movie. Before I continue, I do want to point out, because technically this one signals the end of the 5 movies I had picked out to start off this Tubi horror weekend. This is it. I'm still going to be reviewing horror movies this weekend. Oh, yes. But, technically I can count the next one as well. I'm going to do the sequels to Ghoulies. The Ghoulies 2 next. Ghoulies 3 is in the 90s. And Ghoulies 4 is not even on Tubi. It's on YouTube. And I don't know. We'll see how that one goes. But Ghoulies, much like with Puppet Master and Subspecies, the title characters are barely in the movie. Yeah, or a very, very small part of the movie. They're not that big. You think you're going to come here seeing something like Gremlins, you're not. By the way, to those who will say this is a ripoff of Gremlins, that this and whatever the other one was, Puppet Master, this and Critters, or rips off of Ghoulies, they were in production before, or a ripoff of Gremlins. They were in production before Gremlins came out, so. But, yeah. But Ghoulies tells the story of a young man who inherits a family home, and when he gets there, weird stuff starts to happen that's connected to a cult that it was secretly run by his father, and this man, Jonathan, I think his name is, gets mind controlled to bring in for the Ghoulies, and his friends all get kind of murdered one by one, except for one of the stoner guys. So there's things to know. It's produced by Charles Band. The effects were handled by John Carl Buechler. It was edited by Ted Nicolau, who directed my personal favorite Full Moon movie, Subspecies. And this marks the feature film debut of Murishka Haragate. If you don't get that reference, don't worry about it. But a lot of SVU fame, she's in this. She's not the main girlfriend, but I'm glad she got better at acting, because she doesn't have many lines when she does. Like, there's a scene when they're in the kitchen and the Dick is talking to her, and she was like, just talking to him, and I'm just like, did we not have another line read for that? Did you know? So we start off many moons ago with the satanic cult leader played by that guy who's always a bad guy in everything that he's in, but you don't know his name. I know him. He kind of talks like this, and you're like, I've seen him in something. I don't know what, but I've seen him in something. You see a picture of this guy, and you're like, him. I know him. I don't know what I know him from, but I know him. He's been in a lot of exploitation, like some horror movies. He's been in a lot of those. Always a bad guy. Everything that he's in. And he turns out to be this kid's father. He's getting ready to make a sacrifice, and it's a baby. And I was ready to make a complaint. There's like, it's going to be, the kid comes back as an adult, and they're going to try to sacrifice him, but I'm just like, that's not how it really worked. Do you know why a lot of cults and stuff you see in movies that try to sacrifice a baby or a child? Because children, especially babies, infants, are the purest a human can be. They're recently born, so they're virgins, assumedly. They've done nothing bad so far, except for maybe poop their pants and spit up on people. but they're the purest form a human being can be. Even those who are born again Christians are not completely pure as a baby child. So that's why they want to sacrifice babies. That's not that I'm an expert on it or not, but it just made sense. It's something I thought of. I'm like, why would they? And the more I thought about it, oh yeah, it does make sense. But don't do that. It's not right. Don't sacrifice your babies. It's not right. So the mom stops him by putting a special pendant necklace around his neck and protecting the baby. So a guy named Wolfgang takes the baby away and raises him in secret. And now all these many moons later, that are supposed to be like 19 to 20 years later, supposed to be in college, but the guy looks like he's in his mid-30s. I don't know. At one point he's like, I quit college. And I'm like, quit college 10 years ago? He looks like he's 35. I don't know. I know they get older people, but you could get someone who's 25. He looks 35. He and his girlfriend move into this house. And, of course, the first thing they do is throw a party. Copying House 2, are we? Did that come out after this? If so, then House 2 copied this. Anyway, during this, we meet these two stoner guys. We meet Dick, who I thought was at first the Mountie guy from the Red Green Show, but it's not him. And I thought, oh, maybe it's the dad from Big Long Canvas. Still not him. He just looks like, the more I watched him in the movie, I know. My name is, I'm Dick, but you can call me Dick. My friends call me Dick, but you can call me Dick. He also at one point wears windshield wiper sunglasses. I don't know. This guy's supposed to be cool. He does get laid, which means he ultimately dies, because that's how it works in horror movies. During their party, they go down to the basement, which was a completely different set because the house, they had to shoot some things out of this house that they were allowed to shoot in. And so out of nowhere, Jonathan's like, I'm going to do this ritual and summon creatures. And then nothing happens. But then one of their friends, I think her name is Robin, goes missing and they find her staring at this grave, which I think is supposed to be his dad's grave. I think. And because he sacrificed the mom, but it never really explains what happened afterwards unless they do, and I just don't get it. She's mesmerized, and then Jonathan and Dick find her, and Jonathan is now mesmerized. If his name's not Jonathan, then I'm an idiot, but I swear that's what it was. But yeah, so then he begins to act weird, sense this, and then the Ghoulies do pop up. But also, he summons two little dwarf people who kind of help him out. But it's all revealed to be he is manipulated by the spirit of his dead dad, who, look, much respect to John Carl Buechler, but this is the worst effect in the movie. The little creatures are pretty cool, and even the makeup they have on the little people is actually pretty cool, but it's literally just like green sploosh stuff put on the guy's face. And it's like, why? This almost feels like, I don't know what it is, but it almost feels like they were just going to have him show up with his regular face, and they went, no, we need an effect to make it look like he came from me on the grave, so they just sort of threw some goop on his face. That's what it seems like. To me. Anyway, I'm just assuming. But then, the creatures start to kill the friends. And yeah. There's also a weird thing with the girlfriend where she's like, okay, like he gives her the necklace to protect her, and then she's like, oh, I don't like how you're doing this. And then, like, he's like, I'll stop. So he stops. Then they have sex, and the Ghoulies show up, and he starts doing some kind of chant, so she freaks out, and she gets rid of the necklace, which then puts her, she's no longer protected, but then he gives the necklace back, and she's protected, but then she gets rid of it again, so she's not protected, and it's confusing, very confusing, but Yes, we know your name. But yeah, just yeah. There's like, well, I do like. There's this one scene, that, and I'm sure they borrow from Poltergeist, but there's like a clown sitting in a chair, and then the two stoner guys are in there, and they look. I think one of them is actually Dick, but like they look in the closet and they find the clown in there, and they're laughing, and then the one blonde stoner guy is like, "Hey, wait a minute, wasn't that in the chair?" It's like, yeah, it was. And, like, and then they leave. Then later, there's a thing with that clown where the head like expands and stuff. It's a pretty cool shot. You know, there's some pretty decent effects in this. But if you went into this wanting the Ghoulies to be the main focus, I don't know why I said it like that, main focus, that's not what you're gonna get. It's a cult movie first and foremost. Because I started up when I'm ready for this, and I see this cult thing, and I'm like, what is this? Hey, I know that guy, but what is this? Okay. And then, like, the Ghoulies are just a small part of the movie with their name on it. It's not like Gremlins were coming to the big part, or Critters, where the Critters are the big part. This is more like, and they're pretty much the same company. This is like Subspecies or Puppet Master, where the main plot is they're there, but the main plot is more important. Like, you go to Puppet Master, it's all about these psychics at a hotel. Subspecies, it's all about this vampire civil war between brothers. It's not, you know, I should say like a sibling rivalry between brothers, not civil war. I don't know what I'm saying. So they're not the main focus, but when they're on screen, they look pretty cool. And yes, they do have the scene of the creature, the ghoulie, coming out of the toilet, which wasn't in the original cut, but because they crafted the poster with that, and it doesn't look anything like the one on the poster, by the way, because that's green. This one's like brownish, grayish, and they're like, they screened it, and so it was like, hey, poster had a ghoulie coming out of the toilet, so they did a quick insert shot of that, and then they got hate mail from parents saying, hey, Hollywood assholes, I'm trying to potty train my kid, and your movie scared the crap out of them. I don't know if Cecil, in that video, I'm crediting the Gothics here. I'm not sure if he actually went more into this, because I was listening, but I don't remember. That's on you as a parent, because this is a scary movie that is not for little kiddies. You are trying to potty train your 1 or 2-year-old. Why would you? I know it's like it was a marketing thing. The movie wasn't even out yet at that point. It was just for marketing, right? But like, I don't know. Why would you show your kid that? It doesn't make any sense to me. It just doesn't. It does not make any sense. And yet you are the one who decided to show your kid, but then you blame it on the people who are marketing the film, and like they're like, well, what do you want to do? And Charlie Van's like, fuck it, because they're like, oh, if you you could lose money on this, you could lose your things, and he's like, oh well, fuck it, we'll just keep going. You know what I mean? Just do it, you know. But yeah, what is this now? But yeah, the only survivors are Jonathan, who eventually has to fight against his own father, and they defeat him. His girlfriend, who I thought was dead for show, and his what? Are we already on the pre-show for WrestleMania 41 Saturday? All right. Anyway, so what was I saying? Yeah, because it's a 3-hour pre-show for some reason. And so it's Jonathan, his girlfriend and the blonde stoner guy. And they're like, well, it's okay. We got rid of him. We're done. But then the ghoulies pop up behind him and he's like, and then the movie ends. And spoiler alert, because I looked up the sequels as I like to do. This is not, from what I've seen from the sequels, different. Who the hell is that? Oh, Seth Rollins. I don't know. I see some dude coming out in a pink robe. I'm not supposed to think. I'm very distracted right now. Hold on. None of the sequels follow that. It's just like, even the one that was directed by Buechler, which was Ghoulies 3, which is known as the best one, I guess. Each one has someone new summoning the Ghoulies. And I feel like if you want more Ghoulies action, the sequels are what you want to look for. Except for what I've seen of the fourth one, where it's like they're little people in costumes instead of puppets. I don't know how that's going to work. We'll see. We'll get there. But anyway, as it comes to the first one, I'll give it a high middle of the road. I liked it, but it's not. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how the rest of this series fares. But until then, what are your thoughts on Ghoulies? And like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching. I'm Sky, and I'll see you in the next one.